Good evening. I'm Mrs. James Weir, and I'm the history lead at Maplewell Hall School. I'm going to run through this evening with you the AQA GCSE history exam, what to expect, the different options that we have chosen and which your child will be taking, and some different ways in which they can revise and how that you would be able to support them at home with doing so. So the exam board for history is AQA, and there are two papers in which your child will sit. There is paper number 1, which has 2 topics in it, and paper number 2, which also has 2 topics in it. Both of these papers will be sat separately as standalone papers. However, there will be similarities in how to answer the questions for both of them. Both papers are 50%, so once they've sat both of them, their grade is calculated using 50% of the mark from both of them. And with the extra time, the students will have 2 hours, 30 minutes for each paper. So paper number 1, the first paper, the options which we have chosen and which your child is studying are option A, B, which is Germany with democracy and dictatorship from 1890 to 1945. And it's really important to note that when it comes to helping revise, if you're going to use any exam papers, that you make sure that it is the right option. So it's A, B, and also that the year is right for Germany as well, that it's 1890 to 1945, as some of the content can differ between options and some's quite similar. So it's really important to make sure that you get the right one. Section number B then is our wider world depth studies, which we look at. And the option for that is conflict and tension with the interwar years. And that's BB, so the option is. And I will show you in a minute when I take you onto the AQA website what the AB and the BB means, so where you look for that. And that's 1918 to 1939. So for the first paper they'll be sitting, these are their 2 options. And in the first one, there are 6 questions. There's no optional questions when it comes to GCSE history. All questions which they get, they have to answer. Section B then only has 4. However, they're heavier weighting. So you tend to get obviously bigger essays that they will have to do and less of the smaller questions. So revision is really, really important, because if you have a question that comes up, one of the bigger ones, and it's on something which they haven't revised over, and that's 50% of their exam, it can be really detrimental to their grade. So the second paper that they'll sit, so the second standalone paper they have for 2.5 hours, is called Shaping the Nation. And this involves things which they study at the end of year 10 and into year 11. So we have AA, which is health and the people. And we have then BC, which is Elizabethan England, which they're just finishing off the content for that in lessons at the minute that we're covering that they'll have. So again, AA and BC. And both of these then have 4 compulsory questions. So that's the same as the section on section B for paper 1. So the only section they have that the 6, and usually it's a couple of extra small marker ones related to sources, is on the first paper on the first section. Okay. I've hyperlinked some of these for you. So if I show you, if you click onto the option, so each option will come up. So you can see it on the AQA website and the area of the spec that relates to. So in here that you can see exactly what it is and the content they need to know. Now, they're not allowed to get asked on anything that is outside of this, the remit of this content. So as long as they know what is in here, then that's great. There isn't anything additional that they'll need to know from that. And I have hyperlinked on everyone. So that was health. You've got Elizabethan England that comes up. And if you pop down to it. Here we go. So pop down, just again, double check here that obviously it's the right code, that it's BC, which is what it is. And then these are the exact bits they need to know for Elizabethan England as well. So how to revise then? We'll have your child to revise, or child that you're caring for, and how you can best support them to make sure that these are the skills and the ways that they're doing it and using it. So I have linked in a number of YouTube videos. Most of the students in my year 11 group at the minute access visuals really well. So I've made sure that there's a video for every one of the topics that's going to come up. There's a section of YouTube videos for them on that. So initially, they might want to click on these links where it says videos at the bottom. I'll just show you. It will pull up then. So all of these, you can see topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4. They are all topics for the AQA. They link in. I've checked exactly with the spec and with the option they need to have. So it's all relevant. And they can then go through one at a time, obviously allowing some processing time. They can stop it in between if they need to. But also at the end, I've got some other resources to help them so it keeps them engaged and they don't just switch off. But certainly if they do one and then have a bit of a break where they can do some alternative things rather than just watching all of them, because it will be overload. Okay. So there's some of those for Germany, conflict and tension, Elizabethan England. The Germany one is democracy and dictatorship that was linked to. You've got health and the people. And I've also linked as well an extra, just little resource to BBC Bitesize. It's just worth noting that if you go on here, make sure that it is the title was that I've given. So obviously you wouldn't need to go to Tudors and Stuart. You wouldn't need to do early civilizations. So we'd be looking at Britain, health and people. There's a little bit on there. It's not great, but it is better than not having anything else. But please do not solely just use what's on Bitesize and not anything else. So you've got health and the people, which you can use, which is on there, which is useful. Okay. There's a revision guide. All students will be given one. I have purchased one for them already. It might be that you want an additional one at home if they struggle to remember with organisation, to bring things to and from school, just so you've got a backup. Or if you know that you'd like them to be writing over it and highlighting it, then please, by all means, you can pick another one up. They're £7.50, and I have linked in here so you can see to Amazon, so you can have a little look. That's the one we're looking at. So it's GCSE History, the AQA revision guide that's in there. The only other thing that you need to have is obviously the past papers link, which I've got as well. So once they have watched videos, had a look at one of the video clips, what I would suggest they do is then either make notes, have a little go of making some flashcards with the content that was on there, just the key points. They could fill in a knowledge organizer. They're given templates at school for those. We use them a lot in history. And they can look at completing past papers that are relevant to that section they've looked at. So again, it's just rehearsing and reinforcing what it is that they've looked for the content. So the past papers, if you click on it, again, just make sure. So down here on the left, there's a section that says option. So if you click on the options section, you can have a little look. Okay, so it says option A, option A, option A, option B, B, C. You can click on the right options then for what it is they're studying and pull a paper up. What they also have on there is what's called a mark scheme. And a mark scheme is how to get the grades. So people that mark the papers are bound by these. So what it states in the mark scheme to acquire marks is they have to mark them that way. So if you have a look on some of the mark schemes, let's pull one up that's relative to what we're doing. I can show you. Okay, into all years, conflict and tension. So if they answered the questions, make sure the year is right. So the question paper would be June 22, they'd answer. Then you'd find the mark scheme for June 22. On the mark scheme, if you can have a look through, it will take you through question by question. So number 1 on the mark scheme has the question that's here that would be in the question paper that comes up. And then it tells you how they get the marks. So for example, if they had a developed answer, they'd be looking at 3 to 4 and the bits that need to be in there. So they're making sure that there obviously isn't a simple analysis, that they have factual understanding and it's relevant. And to help you, because obviously I'm not expecting that you're all going to be history specialists as well, although it's wonderful if you are. There's some I haven't. There is some examples that are here of potential content that could have been included to get that mark. There is other content outside of that, which as long as it's relevant, will get the marks on occasions, but that's what you're looking for. So even if they only got, 1 or 2, or you weren't sure when it came to it, because I'm not expecting you to be able to mark these accurately, the important bit is actually having a look and pulling out from the mark scheme, or what is it I could have spoken about when a question asked that, because that and its rehearsal and the exam technique and the associations between what a question's asking for and the information then that you get marked is key. Right. I have also since here, so all of your children or children that you care for at home, all of them have a Google Classroom assignment, which has a link in it for Seneca Learning for History. So for their mock exam, which is coming up towards the end of November, all of them have video clips just for that. There's a link on there for it. They have the Seneca Learning assignments that are on there, which they'd asked for, with obviously a structured way that they can go through one at a time with questions that relate to the videos, and the revision guides, if they use them, that they've also seen. And then if they want to use past papers, of course, that in addition they can do. But it just gives them an option of a way of structuring their revision, rather than just sitting and watching a video or just looking at a past paper, but not having gone over the amount of knowledge and the exact things that they need to have before. So it's just making sure they fully utilise the things that are there. Okay. There is a lot of content in GCSE history as well. So the importance of chunking their revision into sections and into blocks, similar to how the videos are, is really, really going to be important for them. Okay, I've attached my email on the bottom for you. So if there's any questions that you have, if there's any questions which your child at home has that they just can't wait until they're going to school to see me, or just any extra support or things that you might need, please don't hesitate to get in touch. So it's samanthaweir@mapleworld.les.sch.uk, and I will get back to you. Okay, thank you for your support. It is very much appreciated.